Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire, your slightly inebriated host here this evening. And I'm joined by Vlad.
Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? I'm not inebriated, though I should be to be on this show.
It's definitely a plus. I'm not gonna argue with you there. And we got Ross.
Good evening, everyone.
What's going on, buddy?
Same old, same old.
I hear your house is halfway floating away again.
My house did flood again for the second time in 30 days. Once from natural disasters. Well, the second time is I guess also an act of God. But it's a good thing. We're going to have bass tournaments in my basement. But
there you go.
But I got it cleared out just finally now. So it's time to redo again. So.
You just sit at the top of your steps in your computer chair and cast your rod down there in the basement. You'll be good to go.
That's right. There's positives on everything.
Right.
Fresh water.
Actually, I'll be honest. We've had so much rain here the past couple of days, and like really hard rain, that I'm surprised my basement's not flooded. We got, I think it was 2.5 inches in probably like 30 minutes last night. It's been crazy.
Yeah, that storm that dumped on you was probably the same storm that brought the tornado to my neighborhood the day before.
Yeah, we had 27 tornadoes in my state in one night.
Yeah, there was one. There was an EF0 touchdown about 3 miles from my house.
Oh, I was seeing that you made that post. That was close.
Well, I mean, where you're at, Ross, though, it's like there's like nothing to stop tornadoes, right? It's all pretty much like just dead flat land.
Right. I am in Iowa, so and they're expected, in all honesty. But 27 in a day was pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are known for pretty much like cornfields and fucking tornadoes. Pretty much what you guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you could get in the back of your pickup truck, stand up, and look and see the other side of the state. It's so flat.
Right. Oh, and there we got George with us too.
Where?
George, what's up, man?
I don't know yet.
He likes to be fashionably late. He's a diva.
The life of a diva, I guess.
Right.
I thought there was perks to that.
We'll just call you Rue George.
Call me what?
You're Rue George. Instead of Rue Paul, you're Rue George.
Okay. Do I get cool dresses?
If you want.
All right.
Don't ask, don't tell, man. I'm all about that. So.
Oh boy.
So I guess we're going to talk a little bit about some battle pirates because that's what everybody's here to hear about, not our weather reports. So let's do a little bounty wrap up. How did you guys do in bounty, and what did you think about bounty? Vlad, we'll start with you.
I got everything I intended to claim.
Right on.
Which is to say, nothing at all. I did not. I did not participate in bounty. I'm on principle. I refuse to do 2 events a month, so bounty gets skipped.
I know for me, I'll do mine, and then we can go to the other 2 guys. For me, biggest grind fest of a bounty that we've had in a long time. It was boring. It was grindy. I really wish they would adjust pathing so you can auto your opponent bases, because there's a big problem where if you try to auto it, but they have one of the sea gate laws with the draconian sea gates in there, that your fleet won't go anywhere. It'll just sit there. And that's really annoying in an event that you expect me to have to grind out map targets. I don't like it. I don't want it. And if you fix that, I might be a little better off. You should adjust some of the price points on the prizes. I mean, if one great example is I can hit like 8 or 9 S sets in a raid and get the top prize, but yet when it comes to bounty, I have to hit like 80 fucking targets at max points to be able to get the prize. There's something not right with that demographic there.
And don't forget, that's 80 targets you're hitting at full repair.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as I hate to say, a lot of people, and I'm not going to mention any names, but a lot of people were worried that Bounty would become a second monthly raid. Well, it's not. It's like 5 times worse than a monthly raid at this point. And yeah, but that's my view on it. Ross?
My view on the raid was this was the worst raid for me personally.
Wait. Bounty, not raid. Bounty.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, second raid bounty. This wasn't a PvP event to me. I really liked when the bounty idea originated. I liked the competition of a PvP style event much more than PvE. That's why I like the game. So the original idea I loved, but what it's turned into is far from what I love. There's no part about hitting a map target repeatedly. Actually, so much so that I choose to do it on auto. If I choose to do it on auto, it's not really something that I consider fun, and so it was definitely something I chose to do on auto. But you couldn't even do that because the way they're designed. And I know that people were mentioning that you can't auto them. Well, you haven't been able to auto these correctly since Bounty 6. Back many things your ships just don't target correctly. So I would also like to see that change. There's no reason for me. I mean, I know nothing about coding or anything, but I would think that they could change that. It would sure make it a nicer game. And then, but the lack of points out there for actual player bases makes it made it horrible. I enjoy hitting other players' bases. I mean, win, lose, or draw. I don't, I fail a lot, but I make a lot too. But that's what I like. And I had people banking on me and with a guard, a Corvette, and then they're worth 4,000 points, and you hit a Corvette, and all of a sudden, bam, they're worth nothing. That gets frustrating. So I'd like to see that whole thing taken a look at. But I scored like 120 million, and it was a lot of work. I mean, a lot of more grind than I ever wanted to do.
For those of you particular people out there, that was 120,000, not 120.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, 125 or 127K is I think what I actually came out with. Strange number. I got a few left that I can't spend also.
Well, you did way better than me. I got to like 27K, and I was like, I can't be asked with this shit anymore. George.
Oh boy.
Well, let me preface this with saying I'm trying to keep it to somewhat like an hour show tonight.
Yeah, I know I will. I mean, I'm with Ross, man. I mean, it's supposed to be a PvP event. I mean, when it first came out, PvP has always been stealing shit from other people. Even back in the day, it was, you were stealing resources because resources were a pain in the ass to get, and you were going in and stealing. I mean, we used to come out of bases when we started able to get 500%. That's the first thing that everyone asked: did you get 500%? Did you get 500%? And that's what you'd throw in comms when you were shit talking. I got 500% from that guy. It was always about stealing, and when it first came out, it literally was, defined as bounties of an event where players repeatedly smash each other's bases and steal bounty. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. I want to come in. I want to be able to play when I can, hit some bases, and do bounty. I mean, up until this change with the lean towards much harder PvE than PvP, I just don't have the time to sit there and grind another fucking raid every month. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes, players should be able to keep some of their bounty and stuff, but you're keeping 50%, right? You can strategically bank. You can hit those checkpoints, and when you're in a bubble, I mean, maximize your bubble. If you don't want to go and hit bases, and you want to do PvE, there are ways to do it, but you are not supposed to be at the top level of a PvP event if you're doing PvE.
I mean, and it's so weird because, like, when you start talking about its PvP, then yes, and I do agree with that. But you're also there is such a large percentage of the game that has no interest in actual base hitting, but they do take a lot of pride in base defending. And if you're going to continue to put base, like your defense holes, your defender holes, and your turrets in there, you have to have PvE targets for people like that to be able to participate to get the stuff that makes them proud of defending their base.
I would agree, but then something has to be looked at then to make it so those players have a chance at it. We have to adjust, and I don't think it's a level correct. I think it'd be an OP correct situation where people with not OP level correct or OP certain level can only hit player level that same OP. Make it so it's they have a chance. I think the way it's designed right now is those players don't have a chance to enter the PvP realm at full force. I mean, right, today's game, you either have the top tech to make the base, or in my opinion, or you just don't, or you don't have it, and you can't make it.
I think the basic premise, though, should be all the defensive stuff shouldn't be in Bounty. I mean, we've been saying that since Bounty 1. We've been saying it for a year now. All that stuff should be in raids, FM, things like that. If they do have it in a Bounty, and I mean, I can kind of see on the other side, yeah, sometimes you want to have that little bit of an advantage as a top PvPer because that's who's hitting you too. If you put something in Bounty that's a turret or something, don't wait 6 weeks to put it back. Put it in the raid in 2 weeks. I mean, have the availability for the defense stuff much more accessible for players. But with regard to the regular PvP stuff, I mean, yeah, I don't know that a level 60 should be able to grind out and not worry about losing Bounty and then have all the cool PvP toys. I don't know.
Let me also ask you this though: like, if they didn't put defender stuff, like such as defender hulls and turrets and Bounty, how detrimental do you think that would be to participation in Bounty? Because my personal viewpoint, that would hit it hard.
I don't know that, but the participation was never supposed to be like a raid. I mean, that's why you opt in. That's the catch. Is like, this is an opt-in event. It's supposed to be PvP centric, and they want people to start getting back into PvP. This is not a good way to do it because it's just not. It's not PvP. I mean, they could probably add like a tier level, so it's like 50s to 80s are in one tier, and then like 75 up or something. I don't know. There are a couple of ways that are options, but it's gone way off track from where it was supposed to be.
I think one of the problems I see too is when you turn it into a player versus player scenario where it's Jeff versus Bob or whatever, is players are almost always going to find a way to game that system. And I can see where that's a really hard, really fine line for them to be able to walk.
I agree. And I think that as long as that wasn't made so it could be done free, all right, at some cost, you could figure that out. You know what I mean?
Well, a good way to get them to make money is just putting like base defense, like you get hit, you get leveled, and you want to keep on playing in Bounty. 2 coins, it repairs everything, including your base guard. Because the defense part of it is what kind of gets a lot of people leery. Because it is. You lose a lot of crap when you get hit and you're leveled. The timing is just not there. You do. People say, I mean, a lot of people say you don't, and you can work under a dome, but you honestly do if you're dropping your dome or you're hitting all the time. I would spend 2 coins so often it's unbelievable to repair in that situation. So it would, in my opinion, by dropping the cost, would generate income. But I feel that way kind of across the board in all of BP, in my opinion. I can deal with a lot of game problems and a lot of headaches, a lot of mess ups, straight up errors. If it doesn't financially cost me so much, that's the truth. If you were just to say, half repair, quite often, boy, my attitude in the game would go up, 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 up.
because ultimately my wallet is that affects my enjoyment truly.
I mean, it's really funny because we can all sit here and say, I don't like this, I don't like that, and this is the way you should do it, this is the way you should. But at the end of the day, we're all looking at it somewhat from our own skewed perspectives, and we're not the ones who have to try to please 20,000 or 30,000 or however many people are currently playing the game all at one time. And there are times when I really do not envy their position in trying to keep as many people as possible happy as they can without pissing off like a large portion of people.
Oh, it's just horrible. I mean, in all honesty, we're a horrible community. we could say that. Just look at the forums or any page. We're and myself included. I've been so we're some of the worst trolls in any game community that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm not a huge gamer or anything. I don't cross over in many games, but I watch what's going on, and we're sure rough, and that's the truth. We're rough.
Well, and we became that way in response to what Kix was doing, and Kix became the way it was in response to the fact that we can be a little rough. So we fed off of each other. It wasn't like we got this way overnight.
Right. No, it's true. It's grown. It's grown.
Well, and it's also self-selected to a certain extent, because the people who just were either generally neutral or generally positive, a lot of them have gone on to play a game that doesn't cost what this one does and is more fun.
But I think a lot of it also too stems from the fact that the people who play this game love this game and are so passionate about this game, and that's what really stems a lot of us really like getting all on the forums, and
right.
And I think it's more that than us versus Kix necessarily. It's just that we're so passionate and we're like, this needs to be this way, this needs to be this way. And I think that's what feeds into some of the problems that we end up having.
Can we move on to Bounty's competitor last week, which was the 25 million point FM that they promised us was never going to happen?
But when did they promise us that was never going to happen?
Well, they told us they weren't going to. When they changed the format, and then there were people who said, "Hey, in this format, you can pretty much jack up the prices as much as you want." They said, no, we won't do that.
Well, that was the very before it even got released. I had an article out, and I pointed that out specifically, and they were like, "Oh no, we're not gonna bump all this stuff up. We're gonna watch the price points and da." And that was my biggest beef with the transition, was that there was no hard cap on each level. I mean,
I would say if this continues to become a ongoing thing, yes, I think it's a problem. But I literally, honestly, have absolutely no problem with them making the Greta's Inferno Dragon available to people via the FM, so they can proceed to up their game and continue on in the game. Because as we all know, the FM is the most important thing. If you can't do the FM, you can't do anything else. So I honestly had no problem with them putting the Greta in the FM. The other ship, whatever.
But if they're gonna do that, I'd want to see like a special tier, not sticking it in the same tier slots. And the Greta should have been available for more than 1 week. I mean, I'm not that thrilled that it was.
Well, why would it necessarily have to be in a special tier?
Because that's the only thing you got in that tier, that's blocking you from anything else.
But it wasn't the only thing that anybody had available.
I understand that. I'm saying because this is precedent now. They've set a precedent. So now that we're okay with them doing it once, they're going to be like, oh, okay, they're fine. Let's do it again. I mean, let's just look at the damage in the last raid.
Well, but the precedent has to do with that I have the option to claim something else or not. So, but since we have the option to claim something else, they haven't really set a precedence that people were okay with. Was you have to claim this 9 million point thing to be able to get your chest. You see what I'm saying?
My opinion is that I was one that I felt like I personally got burned but I'm under the opinion that that is better for the community. I truly believe that having that in the weekly Greta, that is in the weekly, was a great move for the community, a needed one. Um, I think I have gripes and complaints on how my performance is in the game, and then I have to think at the level I'm at and how many people are below that level and are still logging in daily and doing the same game that I'm playing, and that their frustration level. So I was happy to see that there, and just egging as many people on as I could to get that haul. As far as the ballistic haul, well, I don't know. I don't know if that was just a give me being nice, or if we're going to be seeing that in the future. I think that this week's FM was possibly just a give me being nice. I hope that's how I'm hoping to look at it.
I think the one thing that you really hit on that I think a lot of people stop and think about sometimes is we have to not necessarily look how it affects us personally, but how it affects the community as a whole. And I think having the Greta in there really affected the community as a whole in a positive way.
Oh, I have to say that I'm glad that they realized that nowhere near enough people claimed the Greta in the raid, and they came out with another way for us to claim it. The fact that it was the point value that it was concerns me, because that just, I know it doesn't set a hard precedent, but I got to tell you, if they did it once, and it was even a modicum of successful for them, they'll do it again. And the initial problem is that the raid sucked to the point that nobody got the content that they expected us to have going forward. So they had to make the saving throw to try to get the content into people's hands. Well, don't screw up the raid, you won't have that problem.
True.
I mean, there again though, like, if they were judging it on how successful it was, and we as a player base allowed it to be successful, then do we really have anybody to blame other than ourselves if that happens again in the future?
Oh no, and obviously that's exactly what they're going to point to. Well, you guys all did it. Well, we didn't all.
That's how precedent's done in the game. And I mean, look. Speaking of raid, we have a hull store raid coming up, or a tech store raid coming up, and it's been cut short. It's a 5-day raid, and judging by the the last several friggin' raids in this raid set, I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, you can't auto if you're at work or anything because the auto haul doesn't fucking work.
Well, and that's something interesting too. We know that it's only a 5-day raid, but do we even know for sure that it's a whole store or a tech store raid?
Well, only from format, but
yeah, only from past references do we know that. There's not been anything that I've seen that simply said, yes, this is going to be a whole or a tech store format.
Well, I mean, they've actually said it when they did the state of the game and went over the change to the 4-month cycle. That's what they stated. Now the catch is with this change, are they saying, hey, we're going to get another raid of this raid set, or are we, I mean, we don't know. And this is where the communication breakdown happens. These are important things that we really kind of need to know, because if it is a tech store raid, we're short a day. Does that mean that the balance is going to get changed so we can actually, I don't know, use our auto hulls so we can do stuff while we're at work, or what?
Yeah, we're in that awkward state right now where we're coming up to the end raid cycle. We have a whole new team, and we're in that little bit of a gray area right now, but we're not 100% sure what's going on. We can speculate based off the past, but we don't know for sure that that's what's going to happen.
But look, this is the fundamental problem that we have with Kixeye in terms of communication. We're told a certain thing. And I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I will hold them to what they say. Like, the auto hull is supposed to be able to auto. The FM, is supposed to be the cornerstone of the game. Tech store raids every 4 months. These types of things have got to, either we hold them to it, or they're going to keep on just changing it on the fly whenever they want to whatever they want. And that's just not that's not a good, healthy thing for the game. You know, I mean, they have said every 4 months, tech store raid. That's in the damn notes. That's in the friggin' state of the game. That's what they've stated. You know, bounty is a PvP event that you're supposed to steal bounty from other players. That's the definition of it. That's what they gave us. That's what I'm going to hold them to. And I know everyone wants to crap and cry and, oh, they never said, you know, technically auto. Well, you know what? They did. And they never technically said that bounty is supposed to be. Yes, actually, they did. And I will hold them to the things that they say, and I expect them to deliver on what they've said. Because if you don't hold them...
Let's take bounty for example. Then. Bounty, for example, it's supposed to be an event where you can smash other players to take bounty from them. It technically, honestly, it still is that. It's just you have to catch people that have
it isn't.
You know, we can't let them hide behind plausible deniability. If they're going to say that something is going to be something, and then they're going to weasel their way through their words and say, but, see, it was that way. Well, that's not the way players. That's not what you set up. You're just standing behind plausible deniability, and they do that They do that every time they say, "Oh, well, we based on player feedback." Well, you talk to 3 guys.
But like literally, and I'm going to get a little bit, I guess you can call it personal if you want, but I've literally seen both of you guys weasel out of stuff by, well, technically I didn't say that. So
give me an example. I will happily give me an example.
You and I have had discussions about this on your blog before.
I think in, you know, everybody had a survey, truly above their screen, about how they, you know, and I would think that that's them asking the community how they feel. You know, I'm hoping the community responded in that, and that I think that they're probably taking a look at how bounties delivered to the community right now. I mean, in my opinion, we've got a, you know, new manager in charge. Though I think that he's probably taking a look at all this. I don't know if bounty's such a success at the moment.
Well, I'm afraid one of the big problems with bounty is until you get PvP fixed and PvP balanced, you're not even going to know what changes are going to make balance or make bounty work, because the entire metagame will shift once they have PvP balance. And shit people are using now and tactics they're using now aren't going to be the same tactics that they're using when everything's balanced. So
right, but the engagement,
what's going to work now is kind of a moot point until you get it fixed in the first place.
I'm kind of iffy on that. The mechanics of bounty should work better if PvP is balanced, right? But the catch is that with all those surveys, especially the one that asked about PvP, what I'm afraid of is that, you know, there's a lot of players that are afraid of PvP or don't want to PvP. They love the PvE, and that's going to skew what PvP should be. And, you know, the whole game was based. I mean, it was originally designed for the interaction of players hitting each other. I mean, that's PvP. PvP has been a very solid, same type of ideal the entire time. And if they decide to start changing that, they're going to lose all like the players that actually do like PvPing.
But at the same point in time, you can't continuously cater to that top 10% that does nothing but PvP. Otherwise,
you're not catering. But you're not catering to it, Mike. How are you catering to it?
Let me fucking finish. You cannot continuously cater to that top 10 or 12% that do PvP all the time, because eventually that's going to become a diminishing thing, and nobody else is going to want to participate in PvP because those people get so far ahead because you cater to them for all this time.
Okay, you're talking about a balance thing, but what are you talking about for catering?
Catering is like when you make sure, for example, that only the top 10% can get enough points in bounty to be able to get the top prizes, to be able to progress in PvP, where your casual PvP player probably can't do such a thing.
So here's the catch. There's a couple things there. One, you're not talking about catering to a player that likes PvP. I'm talking about PvP itself. The fundamental PvP definition shouldn't be changed. Okay, it's been the same for 7 fucking years. What you're saying is that you want the balance to be better, which is a totally different thing, and balance has to get fixed. Now, the third thing that you mentioned was distribution. You're never, ever, ever going to see in this game the distribution of a new prize to everybody. It's not going to happen. That's not how they've ever done it. That's not how they balance anything.
That's not what I asked for.
You just said that the gap
balance distribution. not to where the top 10% can get it, but nobody else can get it. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's the distribution of the event prize. It's not going to ever be a balanced thing. That's how they incentivize people to play. Ever since the HHA, it's been like that. Now, should it be more than 10%? Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different issue about where they want to cut that up, but that's something that they do. I mean, that's a business decision. That's not us. But for PvP itself, what I'm saying is I'm afraid that PvP, the idea, the base premise of going and hitting somebody and taking their shit is going to change. That's what I don't want to see, because that's going to make a lot of people leave. You know what I mean? Now, should PvP be balanced? Yes. Should you have stuff in the game where, I mean, let's go back to how it's been lately. I mean, you can walk in with newer fleets earlier this year and just walk through a base and not get a single scratch, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why that Vanquisher build came out, is because so many players were so pissed off that people were coming in and getting like 3 minutes of damage and walking their base. Players don't want that. That is not a good balance for players. So the disparity between the top, say 10%, like you want to say, the top 10% and the rest of the players, that disparity can't be that great. It doesn't make for a good game.
That kind of sounds like
those are three different topics, though. How PvP is, right? The fundamental base definition of PvP is what I'm talking about. That's what I don't want to see changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you see
but
the difference.
I see what you're saying, and in my opinion, you're being pretty technical there, because you know the disperse, it all ties together. It all ties together.
Well, I think if the distribution issue, I think, is because they can't balance a fucking hull. I mean, there shouldn't be a hull that comes out where you go, okay, I can click on the back of the base of 90% of the bases and not worry about it, and essentially auto bases. That should never, ever, ever happen. That's just shit design.
Oh, I don't give them credit for being shit design. I think it's intentional design, because they know that if they do that, the guys who measure their value by where they stand on the leaderboard are going to coin the fuckers up, and for the 2 or 3 weeks they're invincible, that they're going to, those particular players are going to have a ball with them, and then they'll move on and coin whatever it is next, so that they have to, so they can stay at the top of the leaderboard.
I totally agree. I see it happen all the time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is that's a balance thing. That doesn't make for a good game. Should they be able to go in? I
absolutely agree with you. It doesn't make for a good game. I just don't agree that it's an accident. I'm saying that they're doing it absolutely on purpose.
Man, look at the way the stuff that they're releasing in the game right now is. I can almost guarantee you that then it's not on purpose, because they don't know the game enough to do it on purpose.
Well,
they don't know the game enough.
You have a point there.
Like, if they played the fucking game, a lot of shit would be really obvious to them that they do is just jacked up. And like this whole Voltron idea of that they tried last year and it sucked, and now they're trying it again in a different format. I mean, it's not going to work. It's going to suck, and PvP is going to get fucked, and it has been. You know, as
I've said many times, I am more than free to discuss what does not get tested, and PvP sure as fuck doesn't get tested.
That's true. That is true. I mean, it's at just the basic designs that they're coming out with. I mean, on paper, it looks great. That looks cool. You can do this and this. That's awesome. But in practice, players play the way that they want to play, not the way that you're going to try and force them to play. And that design sucks in the game. It's just not going to come out balanced anytime, because it's at some point when you're hitting that base, you got to turn. You're going to be exposed to damage types that you can't handle, because instead of doing a balanced, attack and defense, they lopsided everything. So I don't know.
And this kind of all feeds back into what I said. I don't envy their position, because even on this panel of only 4 people, we can't agree exactly what PvP should be, what balance is, and what distribution should be. So I definitely don't envy their position, trying to make 30,000 people or whatever it is happy.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, if they actually did fix PvP where it's the balance was at least seminally there, it wouldn't. None of those the other issues would be very secondary issues rather than primary issues like they are now.
I would agree to that to a certain extent.
I would too. There's a huge disparity between the haves and the have-nots, and I think that if that is not such a discrepancy, that it would be better off game. I mean, I've been hit by the same players for the last 2 years, and I don't see it changing. I mean, I don't see that group of the have-nots moving to the haves by gameplay, by the design. And so I see it increasing and greater, and I wish it changed. I'm getting tired of actually getting hit by the same people for the last 2 years. And that's
I will interject at this point and say we're 38 minutes into the show. We haven't said a fucking word one about anything that happened this week.
All right.
So let me do some screen sharing and let's get into that.
Good deal.
So we have no slides this week. We're just going to go right off the forums because I went to my neighbor's house and drank several beers and didn't have time to do slides. So here's what we're going to do. We got the patch notes. So events we got this week. We got the Double Trouble campaign. It's a new co-op one. Ross, you want to talk about this some?
Sure, I can. This co-op, this campaign here, it is co-opable. So it's Double Trouble. It's it does say recommends the Icebreaker. However, I use the Inferno Dragons with the lead, and that's what I would recommend for those players that are assisting the other player. It was actually was minimal damage on auto with the fleet that I was able to do that, and I have been able to complete the prize packs 1, 2, and 3 for several other people. When this is the first that I am known that when you do a co-op campaign, the person that is assisting is also giving a reward. So they're given a shard of some type. I think there's 3 different as far as I've come across. But so that's a neat little bonus that I've just added to this one, where the person assisting is also rewarded something. Now on these prize pack on the prize pack 1. You get the Mana Core print itself, and you get the Savage CIC. You do get 1 Mana Core build token times 3. You also get 3 9,500 VXP tokens. When you go on to Prize Pack 2, you're going to pick up the Roaring Barrel system, 1 day Mana Core build times 3. You're going to pick up 3 3-day Mana Core build tokens. Also, you're going to pick up the ranking tokens. You get 9,500 times 3 and 47,600 VXP Mana Core ranking tokens. Now, before you enter Prize Pack 3, you're going to really want to check on your base status and go to your tokens and see how many you can hold. This is where I ran into trouble myself, and it's stopped me on my campaign moving forward. You're limited to the amount of Mana Core tokens you can hold. So you want to be aware of you're going to need to spend them. Well, many people will have to spend them as they're doing this campaign, or you're going to throw them in the Pixel C. So Prize Pack 3, you're going to pick up the Panthera Scattergun, 1 day Mana Core times 3, and also 3 day Mana Core times 3. This at Prize Pack 3, you're going to pick up 4 9,500 VXP Mana Core tokens and 1 47,600 VXP tokens. So that's quite a few tokens. This is really this is the campaign that I suggest for everyone. This is a great. I love these co-op campaigns. Actually, I've loved every one that they've introduced in the game, and I think it's great.
I mean, you end up getting, like, if you go the whole way through, you get, what, like 24 days worth of build tokens for Mana Cores? So, you know, if you're behind and don't have them fully done yet, or you got a lot of refits that you want to do, or whatever the case may be, this is definitely the campaign for you.
Well,
yeah, you know,
go ahead.
Well, I was just say the one thing that I'm really concerned about. There's 2 things actually. One, it's the scatter version, right? So the auto hull, and that's worked like shit so far this raid. And then 2, this reminds me of another TLC in which we got a raid hull for everybody, the Buccaneer, which we've seen when it comes to the map targets after these things go to the map and it becomes a chore fleet that we need to get our resources. It does shit. It's been fucked.
Well, and that's where I kind of falls on us a little bit as a community to be like, no, this is unacceptable. This hull is not performing the way it should for these map targets, and do not engage in map targets. You know, sometimes at some point we have to take a little bit of responsibility our own self to be like, no, this is not acceptable.
Wow, I mean the 103s were made, by feedback, right? And they've essentially blocked the Buccaneer out of that thing.
Well, and that was people not standing up and saying this is not acceptable.
I certainly did. I'm still bitching about it. I mean, that was a shit design. And if this happens again, where you're trying to get this into the hands of the community, right? And it's going to go to a map target, and it's going to be a resource that we need. I really want to see the damn thing work like it's supposed to.
Well, don't worry, George. They'll just make a proto something or the other, and then it'll be obsolete, and we won't need to worry about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're having the proto Apollo, right? Isn't that what they said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And on this one, I know I cut off Ross. I'm sorry. But I think on this one, too, it has a thing where it clarified that the person that has started the co-op is the one that gets the prizes, and then the person that's helping is the one that gets the chest, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And just to throw this in case somebody in San Francisco is watching, while Ross is a big fan of the mandatory co-op, I am not. I rarely play with other players anymore. I have very few players who I even trust to do a co-op target together with. And I think mandatory co-op targets suck. That said, I think this is the one. There's actually a video out that you can use your fangs to prep it, and then go in with icebreakers and do it without it being co-op.
Yeah,
yes.
or you can do it like I. Yeah, and I know Ross said that he audited it. I audited it with just 2 dragons, just like I did the FM video, and I think I walked out with 40 minutes of damage. I didn't even go into the damn thing.
Yeah, well, my raid fleet doesn't work, and my dragon fleet doesn't work. So
your dragon fleet doesn't work in this?
I don't know about in this. It just doesn't work in general.
Oh,
I'm doing the FM with icebreakers because it's the only fleet I've got that actually does what I think it's supposed to do.
Well, if you ever stick around for an after show, we'll tell you how to build your dragon.
Yeah, I mean, I have my dragon build on the friggin' videos. Ross, how many dragons did you bring in? How much damage you get?
Oh, I brought in the whole fleet. I'm 5 or 4 in the lead, and it very minimal, in all honesty. And my build's nothing great. I'm running the old charged on my Infernos.
All right, but are we talking like 20 minutes or 50 minutes? I mean,
under 50 minutes.
Okay.
I think. I mean, it wasn't.
One of the things. Well, one of the things the reason why I'm curious is that it seems that every time they build these targets now, they're revolving around splash damage, and what I found was that you don't need the full.
For sure.
Fleet anymore. Yeah, because it's detrimental to you because they have all the damage is splash. So instead of walking in with a full fleet of 5, I mean that's what the 121. 40 minutes with 2 hulls on auto is stupid, and the only reason why it works is because they went so heavy on the splash damage. So it's not even like you can mitigate the damage by good driving unless you split the fleet and do it with hell, I did the 120 for 13 minutes of damage because there was 1 flag, and then you had the monoliths way the hell away from them. And I don't know that I'm not that big of a fan of that design.
I have to ask, on your dragons, are you using charged armor, or have you switched over to the new and improved limited armors?
Oh, I've switched.
Yeah, I've only got like 1 copy of those.
Yeah,
because I was not able to grind through these, or I shouldn't say wasn't able. I was unwilling to spend the grind time to get them in the raids.
Well, the new armor isn't a limited armor,
right?
No, but you still had to grind through the raid to get the tokens so quickly.
Yes. I think my my Inferno Dragons do not. They have the old charged armor. My Greta's does not have any armor, and it works pretty good. Because I built it with no armor, I didn't want to jack up the repair time because of the splash issue that you were just mentioning. It seems like the more ships I add to the fleet, the higher the repair goes. So, oh well.
Well, as you progress with your dragons and you start getting more and more and more of the new armor on it, you will see a vast difference. But you know, like everything else in this game, it can be time consuming if you haven't put in the time to get the tokens during the raid.
Right. Then we do have another campaign.
Yeah, the Rapid Assault campaign. For those who have your mana cores already, here's a chance to take them for a spin. Yeah, well, I don't necessarily know that I personally agree with that, but yeah, you can go through with your assault fleets. I'm sure you can do this with oh, what the hell are they called? Somebody help me out here. Phoenixes and what's the other one?
Skyfire.
Yeah, you can go through and do it with these as well. But you'll get some predator missiles, some scatter guns. You'll get some reinforced blade of armor and some more mana core build tokens. I know I personally went through and attempted to do this on auto with my mana cores because I'm a lazy pirate. And guess what? Cheese balls fucked me yet one more time, even more than they did on my Phoenixes, because on my Phoenixes I at least knew to put a gale on them. But going through and hitting these targets with my mana cores did not have any gales on them whatsoever, and I got hit by a cheese ball on almost every single target.
Okay.
So yeah, I was not a fan of taking my mana cores in this on auto for sure. If I had driven them, I probably could have done a lot better. But yeah, on auto, just get rid of the goddamn cheese balls, dude. It's explosive damage that never should have been in that fucking target in the first place anyway. That's pretty much all I had to say about that. Anybody else got anything?
No, I haven't done that one myself yet, because it says, you have to really watch what you're building right now to not overload on these tokens.
George, Vlad, either one of you guys done this campaign?
I haven't even looked at this campaign yet, so I can't really comment on it.
Yeah, I haven't either. If I'm going to do it, I'm probably going to auto the bloody thing anyway, because I just don't have time to keep messing with crap.
Yeah, well, all I'm going to say is be prepared to get hit by cheese balls.
Sweet.
Content changes. The raid has been pushed back a week. So it's now starting on August 16th.
They say that the raid's been pushed out a week, but if you're going to stick with 12 raids a year, there's 4 times a year you have to have an extra week in the schedule. So I don't think the raid was pushed out at all. I think somebody forgot, oh yeah, it's allegedly the technology raid, so we have to add an extra week so that we can stay on a 12 raid schedule instead of a 13 raid schedule.
Well, I mean, I guess that's all semantics, though, because, technically, if they came out and actually had already announced the raid date, now they're saying it's a week later, then yeah, it has been pushed.
Well, I kind of think it might have been pushed back given what we saw on the new whip.
That's true, and we're going to go over that later, too, so we can hold that for that point. Bug fixes. I really like the way that our new map has broken this down into visuals, crashes, retrofits, combat research, and others. I kind of like that. But premium gift costs appeared incorrect in the game, and were corrected we're correct in the Facebook purchase screen. Greta's Inferno Dragon reduced in scale on the world map, and added missing timer on base activity when using R&D. Those were all visual bugs. Crash bug was replica bases with an excessive number of duplicated buildings were causing the battle server to crash. These have been removed from the replica base set. Retrofit, reinforced Caribbean armor incorrectly listed in a retrofit group, removing it does not impact it. Performance was not changed retrofits anyway. Combat phlogiston launcher 2 fails to trigger a shockwave. Research creating advanced systems in the outpost has no timer, and other additional minor bug fixes to performance improvements. I'm assuming that was probably still continuing to work on the hardware acceleration stuff. Anybody really have anything there they want to talk about, or not really?
Well, it says there the launcher, 2 fails to trigger shockwave. Does that mean they fixed that? I have not been hit since this.
Yes, that would be my understanding. But that was looked into and is now working as it was supposed to in the form of trigger shockwaves. At least from their perspective, whether it's true in game or not, only time will tell.
Okay.
But then we also had the August events messaging calendar. Not sure why the messaging calendar part was there, but whatever. So they gave us a whole list of like pretty much what's coming up here over the next couple of weeks. This is sort of similar to the WIP. Not exactly. They don't go as much into detail about what's going to be happening in the game as much as they do. Here's what you can look forward to. They were talking about what's going on this week with campaigns and the art showcase, which they did, which I thought was kind of cool. That showed, what their concept originally was in 2D format and then how it translates into 3D. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have the regular Rampage, well, not Rampage reports anymore. I guess will be Wrong Thinker reports and with the August calendar discussion. Then on the 6th, we'll have the PvP Refractor and more. And that's the one. That's what they're going to talk about, how they're going to get PvP back into balance. So
that's the week that the raid was supposed to start, and that's where I'm kind of a little bit worried.
But I mean, I definitely recommend anybody who's interested in PvP definitely keep an eye out on the 6th to see what they had to say and what their plans are for sure. And then I'm not going to go through every single date here. You guys can go and look at this for yourselves on the forums. I'm sure if you could find the link to get here, you can find the link to get to the forums, but you're probably literary enough to be able to read it for yourself. But it kind of just gives you a look at what's coming up over the course of the next month, or what they're going to be telling us and what they're going to be talking about, where your events are going to happen. So it was definitely nice to see something like this come out as far as, okay, here's where we're going, here's what's happening. Maybe not in the details we would like to say, as far as, like this week we're coming out with this particular item that's going to do this particular thing, but it does give you at least a vague word of that.
No, I agree. I think it's great. I mean, this is what I've asked for, and somewhat, at least an outline of what we got going on, and this is that. So.
Anybody else really have anything they want to go over on this?
Nope, just that 1 week where we got the raid pushed back. I'm kind of wondering what's going to come out on the 6th and why they need for it. I don't know if it's waiting for feedback or what, but that's the week that everyone wants to. If you're going to say something about something, that's the week to do it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be it'll definitely be interesting to see what gets said and what the reaction is and how many waves are caused by and all that. It's going to be a definitely interesting day for the Battle Pirates world. And I guess, really, I mean, unless anybody else can think of anything that, that they know of, that's pretty much the highlights for everything we were told is going to be happening this weekend in the upcoming month.
Right. So this upcoming weekend, we got a calm weekend in BP. Correct?
Yeah, it definitely seems like it.
Good deal.
So, All right, we got some open mic dead space time now. What do you guys want to talk about?
You know, I just think there's a lot of negativity in the game, and it's you know, across the game, but we're all still here, and I think that I'm just chugging along slowly like I always have been. You know, I personally am not spending the cash on the PvP, but I am participating in it still. That's where I find my enjoyment. So I'm still trying to participate in that. Unfortunately, it's more defense than offense lately.
Yeah, it's really, in my personal opinion, it's hard to invest much money into PvP right now until we see what their changes are and plan that they have they're going to implement, so we know where it's going to go. Because nobody wants to, like, you know, spend, well, there's some people, but most people don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a PvP fleet and then find out next week it's going to be fucking rat balls, you know?
Right.
And yes, there's always exceptions to that rule, but I mean, I'm talking the community at large.
No, but and that's holding me back from some things, you know, because I just don't know where we're going. I don't know the longevity of what I'm going to coin, so I'm building it slow. That's about all I have. I mean, game's still moving along for me, slowly, but it's here.
Vlad, you got anything?
Oh, just trying to get all of my PvE fleet in order. I haven't used my Huggies yard and I can't remember how long, and I haven't built a Conqueror or Defender hull in forever. And I don't plan on it because I can't get anything built on time before it becomes obsolete.
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm so lazy when it comes to doing short targets. R&B preps with titanium flight the other day.
Oh,
yeah, Vlad. I don't know that you want to not build anything. I mean, my onslaughts are awful useful right now. MSCs is still, you know, top of
that requires going out and earning whatever special the titanium or whatever it is, that I just have no desire to do it. I literally have no desire. I don't run a guard fleet. I don't hit bases. I don't do bounty. And until they slow down the progression to the point where I can actually build something and be able to use it before it's obsolete, I don't see the point.
But that's what I'm saying, is they're not obsolete.
Really? I
Onslaughts came out. When did Onslaughts come out?
They've been out for a while now.
And you can go into actually hit bases with them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hit bases with Onslaughts, MSCs, frick, with sloths. I mean, my sloth fleet is freaking great still.
I mean, what sloths have been, they're probably teetering on what, about almost a year mark at this point.
Probably, well, actually a little more, isn't it? Because the sloths came up before the boss.
I built sloths. I shelled them out and ranked them, and then, you know, the next big thing came by, and I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to chase these down because the next big thing is here. And if that's not really what's going on, then I guess shame on me for not realizing it, but shame on Kicks too for churning content so quickly that former PvP players feel like they just can't keep up. And they literally give up on it. Because that's where I'm at.
Man, I think you might want to take a look again, because it's, I mean, yeah, there are some times when it goes in and out, because there was a while that Onslaughts weren't really worth a lot in base hitting, but they're still viable in a lot of other parts. While they weren't good at hitting a base, now they're back to, yeah, you want to bring some in on some of these.
But what do you do with a Conqueror fleet other than hit bases?
I get the feeling though that most of Vlad's PvP experience comes back to that 3 weeks when revenges were extremely awesome, and then and he was doing really well, and then when they weren't so extremely awesome anymore, that just totally soured him on him.
Oh, see,
Well,
the revenge.
they said 6 months, and it was good for 6 weeks.
Well, that depends. Mine were good for quite a while, but it was a very specific build. The Revenge was really odd in the way that they had that come out and design, because it was kind of like half deflection, half resistance, and all that other stuff. And then if you didn't have it built really well, it wasn't worth a shit. If you had it built really well, people were sending in tickets saying that you were hacking. I mean, it was not the most rounded design to come out of Kixeye. It was
and let's be honest, when you're looking at overall PvP, you can't just look at one specific hull and base all your decisions off of one hull.
True.
Whether PvP is good based on how the longevity of one single hull, because there's always been ones that were fucking turds on the walk.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that almost everybody's using their Conquerors in defense as well. I mean, like, I've had an Onslaught in my base on and off since they've come out. Hell, I'm still using Hope. I still have a Hope in my base.
I'm wondering how much that will change now that with the Curator, we're starting to get Defender hulls that have the same base repair time now as the Conqueror hulls do.
I'm so glad that they did that.
Yes, very.
Yeah, because I always thought that was like I know. Well, the game has always, whether most people would admit it or not, the game has always been, in my viewpoint anyway, skewed kind of towards the attacker, especially with recent years when you have your Conqueror hulls with 30-minute repair time, where your Defender hulls have like a 3-hour repair time. And I think at least in repair time, they're starting to get things a little bit more in balance that way. As far as, outputs and damage and all that kind of stuff, that remains to be seen. But, repair time is definitely one good step in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, too, is I think that, and this is a definite shame on Kixeye, I think they'll implement something in the game like that half repair time slot for base defense. And then instead of letting us have that as, hey, we have a cool little thing for base defense, they tune around that and go, hey, they have a half repair time, so we're going to make this repair in twice the amount of time. I mean, that's just shit. And we see it with the Mana Core. I mean, the repair time on that thing is just outrageous. And it's because they design around that half repair time for raid. But then, we have to deal with these things for a year after doing chores. And shit, then on top of that, they don't even work.
A month after the raid's done.
They won't be obsolete. They just won't be in the SSIBs. But then again, I mean, they're already obsolete because the one that everyone wants to use for chores, the auto hull, so you can actually have time to play other things that you want to play, it doesn't even work. It still doesn't work.
Well, I mean, you can't say it doesn't work. It just
doesn't work.
Top target. It works in like the 90s.
No, it doesn't do its job. It's a top tier hull. It's supposed to auto, and it doesn't auto the top tier target.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I'm saying is you can't make a blanket statement that it doesn't work, because in the 98 it still does work.
Okay, but that's working on a subpar target. When you come out with a product,
like I said, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all. I'm just saying you can't make a big blanket statement saying it doesn't work.
Oh, I absolutely can on that one. It doesn't work. For its intended purpose, it does not work.
I can auto 98s with it all day long.
Okay, I think auto the top tier targets with the top tier hull. That's what I expect.
I actually think that it could be fixed just by, or helped quite a bit just by where you enter the target. It's the pathing that causes the damage. If it came in behind the hull, is moving away from it, it would be acceptable damage for me. When it comes to those side shots, it just does horrible.
Are you talking the Raid and the Mana Core, or are you talking the 103 and the Buccaneer?
Oh, the Raid and the Mana Core. Sorry.
Okay. You're fine. And I totally agree with what you just said there. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about, was the Mana Core.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the 103 and the Buccaneers there.
So I think that the hull could perform right if it just approached the target differently.
I don't know. I've tried swinging them around and having them come in from the front and auto and that way, and it's not that much of a difference.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. They've got to get this shit together with regard to that. Either kill the auto hull and let us know, or fix it. One or the other. They've got to.
Yeah, believe it. I haven't been hit. I haven't been hit on this show.
Oh well, that's amazing. Yeah, I think the best way to sum it up right now, though, is that we're in a very pivotal time in BP, and a lot of people are just waiting to see what's going to happen, and that will determine what they're going to do going forward. And yeah, I hope we see some changes for the positive.
Me too.
I agree.
But don't forget, everybody, make sure you go to the forums and welcome our new CM if you haven't done so already. I mean, I'm liking the direction he's going with things so far. Like, especially with his little calendar thing and kind of mapping out, what's going to be happening. Not really so much in technical aspects of the game, but just like a generalized thing of this is what we're going to be talking about this week. This is the event that's going to be happening this week, and so on and so forth. It's nice to have at least somewhat of a guideline going forward.
Yeah, Chris is cool. It's just that he's not like I'm more concerned about when we get the new guy and see who it is.
Time will tell.
Yep.
But anyway, thanks everybody for coming out and watching. Definitely appreciate you. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends. And actually, I'm 95% sure we will be having an open mic / roundtable, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday. Keep an eye on the page and we'll keep you posted there. And until then, we'll talk to you later.